Hey there, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. It's finally here, the time to put together my Christmas album this year, what others call December Daily. And yes, I like to start my albums with Thanksgiving. It's sort of a mixing of traditions. Where I come from, people don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we do have Advent, and usually the first Sunday of Advent, like this year, takes place before December 1st. And so in order to capture the entirety of the season with all its important events, I like to start my album before December and hence call it a Christmas album rather than a December daily, although in essence it is a December daily. Now, where I live now, we do celebrate Thanksgiving, so I find that it is a good time for me to start my album with the actual Thanksgiving dinner that we have. And so in this video, I'm putting together my first page, which is all about Thanksgiving. And so here you see me actually start with little tabs. I'm doing these pages on flaps that will be on inside the front cover, and because it's before December actually, so I'm using one flap per day, and so I want to have little tabs there that I will attach. And you see I'm just adding the numbers, so it's today it was November 24, then we have November 25, then November 26, and so on. That's what you see me do there. So this is actually an album that I started putting together months ago because I'm sharing the cut files of this album as freebie on my blog, MistyHilltops.com. And I wanted to give people a chance to get started as well if they wanted to use this, because I am sharing it. And so the base of this album has already been there, and all I need to do now is to decorate it. And I'm not aiming at working on this album every single day of December, because some days will be busy, and then because some of the work is already done, some days I might be working on several pages. So I'm just not stressing out too much. This year will be kind of strange. Where I am, we're in full lockdown, COVID lockdown, believe it or not, whereas the rest of the world is free from all this. We are still in full lockdown, and more so than ever it seems. And so I won't even be able to spend the season as much with people as I'm used to. So it'll be a more quieter season, probably less things to do, but it'll give me more time, I guess, for working on this album and keeping me busy that way. And I like doing Christmassy things for Christmas, and this is a very Christmassy thing, so I'm not too concerned about how the season will turn out, although I am expecting it to turn out differently than any other year that I've had in many years. So anyway, here I have this was a die cut set where you have the word, and then there is a mat that can go with it. And so here I have already die cut it, and then I'm just gluing it down onto the mat there so that it will be nicely visible on the paper that I'm using. And so here these are all preparatory things that I'm doing. I wanted, Thanksgiving is about giving thanks for harvest and for the things we have. I mean, it's much more than that, I'm aware, but just for me, like where I come from, we do have a small Thanksgiving that certain people will celebrate and commemorate, and so that has to do with harvest, and so I just like to use those grains to go with Thanksgiving. Then here I already cut a whole bunch of papers, trimmed them down to size the way that they would go into those flaps, and so I'm ready to put these things there. And I'm not starting yet because I'm working on one flap in this video. So this is a design that is at the front of my album, and there will be more elaborate things that go on the other pages, but for this one I just want it because it's pre-December, so every flap will be a new day. And I have realized I'm doing December dailies for many years now, it's my 11th, 12th, I forgot. I'm losing track of how many years I've been doing it. I have a whole bunch of albums in my home that I like to pull out and look at. And so because I am doing this album, so for so many years, I have discovered that what I like to do is work with pockets. And now this album gives me a lot of flexibility. I can work with pockets, I cannot work with pockets. I can just treat it like a 6x6 scrapbook page, or a slightly smaller scrapbook page, or I can do whatever I want. But what I like about working with pockets is the fact that I am completely flexible. I can already prepare a page, but then be completely flexible with what is going on that day. Sometimes there are days where I take very few pictures, maybe one, maybe I forget to even take any picture because nothing special was happening on that day, if it's a work day for me. But there are other days that are super busy where there's like picture after picture after picture. And so what I like about the pockets is that I can put the pictures on the mats, and then I can just simply slip those slide those mats into pockets that I'm using. So actually even today I sat down and designed a whole bunch of pockets that are a little deeper than just the ones that I put at the bottom of a page, so that things don't slide around and they sit a little tighter, and they needed to fit on this 4x6 page size that I was creating here. So this is a 4x6 flap, and so obviously the pocket needs to be small enough. And so this is one of the pockets I created, and sadly I won't be able to share those as a freebie with you. For the most part, I have 2 pockets that I fully designed all the way myself. But for a lot of the pockets that I'm using for these front flaps, there's 3 of these front flaps. I've used designs from my silhouette library, and obviously I won't be using other people's designs. For example, here I have this little plaid design, and I got this as a cut file, so I obviously wouldn't use another designer's files to, even if I fully modify it and change it up all the way. This is completely changed up from what it was, but you can still see that it was that plaid, so I wouldn't be using it to share as a freebie here. But you get the idea. And anyway, so what I like to do is I do create my own. I did use a whole bunch of designs that I have in my silhouette library from the Silhouette store, and I just change these things up and turn them into these pockets. And what I wanted to achieve was a pocket that has a little bit of a see-through effect there, because the paper is quite pretty, and I wanted to be able to still show that paper a little bit. Here obviously I'm covering up a lot of the pocket because I actually ended up printing a whole bunch of Thanksgiving things, but I really only have one day of Thanksgiving, and this was from my album last year. I added a tiny little folio mini album into my actual album. You can check out my December daily, or like my document December 2021 video to see what I was doing there. And so I had all these files, and they were still in my silhouette. They were saved in my silhouette, and so I just printed them off without realizing that I don't really need all that much for this, because it's not an album that I was creating, just a pocket. But anyway, I ended up finding a spot for most of these things. For example, like that little label there on the right side that you see that has the just the writings there. So I just try to just find a place where to put them, because I wouldn't have any other use for it. And I do that. I print things, and then I use my silhouette to cut. And here I just wanted to add these little ears of grain. I thought they were quite cute to put on this page because it's all about Thanksgiving and harvest and the things we have. And so but they ended up sliding around a little too much, and so I needed to still make sure they would be glued there. I'm using my little toothpick to just put some glue behind there so they wouldn't be just slipping and sliding all over the place. And so as I am actually also gluing things onto this pocket, I have to be aware that it is a pocket where you can see through, like there's nothing behind it, and so I don't want to be too generous with the glue because I don't want the pocket then to stick to the background page or paper there. And so I had to be a little careful with that. And so I decided to just put glue on those strips of paper that were showing rather than putting glue on the label that I was going to glue down onto that page. So here I am actually ensuring that there's no glue on the back side that would stick down to the background paper there. And then I have this journaling card. You can find it as a freebie on my blog, mistyhilltops.com. I share a bunch of journaling cards that you can fully adjust and modify. They are in silhouette, but there's PDFs of that as well. So whichever way works for you, you can use it. And I reuse them. They can be recolored, resized, everything. So I reuse them every year in a different, with a different color scheme and all that. But here I wanted to just create another journaling card for my, what was on the menu. Where I live, like there is always a big dinner that is given for, well, I work at a university, and so the university gives a big dinner for all the ones, for all the faculty that this applies to. So we get a nice big dinner served. We don't have to cook our own dinner. But anyway, this is my page done for Thanksgiving. And I hope you enjoyed watching this process. I'm going to share more things as they happen, as the days come. But here I'm going to leave you with some more close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great Christmas season. Thanks for watching. Bye.